Okay, this is a 16 plaited bullwhip. What I'm going to show you now is how to drop strands. I'm plaiting in 16 plait at the moment, which is under 4 over 4 under 4 over 4 on either side, and you can see the shortened strands. They are the ones that I am preparing ready to actually drop. As you can see, the line of my weave is quite straight, so keeping it straight as you drop strands is the key. Now I've pulled that one under and I'm holding it with one finger underneath, and you swap holding the under strand. I've dropped it on the left, so on that left side I have 3 at the bottom and 4 at the top part of the weave. Now I'm going to show you it. There you go, there's the strand. Being aware that you need to give that a little pull to pull it into place, but not too hard because you'll completely distort. I'm getting my knife ready because you don't have enough hands. I'm going to keep weaving under 4 over 3. So effectively I'm plaiting 13, not 13, effectively I'm plaiting 15 at the moment. So now I'm going to gently pare it down to a point or pointing. Plaiting maybe 3 to 4 inches. You can hold that strand all the way and actually tuck it under to give you a little bit more bulk underneath. I prefer to get all of my foundation, the belly of the whip, really a good taper and not worry about holding strands underneath. I will only do that if I feel that I need a little bit more weight as I'm going down to the point. So now I'm getting ready to drop one on the right hand side. And see, I'm just straightening my line, and there it is. That's the one I want to drop. So it's got to be close to the bottom so that you can tuck it under. And my finger on my left hand is just holding it in place. Now the right hand. So now I'm effectively going under 4 on the right side over 3. Just make sure that you get those right. And there's my strand that I want to drop, being held underneath. It's kind of like a juggling thing. It's quite difficult to actually keep track of it. But there, see, I was over 3 there. Look at that. See? It's there. I'm holding it. You can see it flick out on the left hand side there every now and then. You can see it more like underneath. By doing it one strand at a time, notice you can't even tell that I've dropped a strand on that left side. And this gives you a very even braid, even though it's out of sequence. Under 4 over 3, under 4 over 3. You don't have to go far before you'll turn the whip over and do the same on the opposite side, then finishing in the 12. See, I'm showing underneath, making sure everything's straight. That line, there you go. You can put a ruler on it, but it doesn't necessarily mean to say it's a bad whip if something does swing a wee bit. In a perfect world, nothing is perfect. Right, I'm going to plait some more over the top of that. Excuse my autofocus, sometimes it does some weird things when I move my arms around. It is tracking my hands, but if I move them too fast, I'm trying to do this real slow so that it doesn't start blurring up on me. Normally by now I would have done all 4 strands. See, there's the next one to be dropped. Next one there. So I'm going to flip over the plait. I don't use a set holding vise. I use a tether onto a hook or an eye so that I can actually flip it over easily and have a look on the other side. Right, you'll see me turn it over shortly because that one's getting short and I know that's the next one to happen. Always be aware that you pull the back strands more than any of the front strands. I've just flipped it over. Well, I'm going to flip it. I have to have all of those strands untangled. Of course, my autofocus goes crazy. Right, so I'm flipping over now. Making sure that my tether sits really straight. This style of dropping strands, especially when you're working in 48 or 32 strand, can actually stop the sway or persuasion of a platter who actually plaits on one side only. So just keep filling in the plait so that you can then hold the front cross strands and drop all of the back. So that way you can see where you're at. When you've got 48 strands, it's easy to lose your way. Right, now I'm coming to, of course I will be under 3 over 4. So there, I've tucked it under and I'm ready to roll. So it's under 3 over 4, but I'm actually on this side now that I've tucked it under, it's under 3 over 3. Right, so that's the easiest way to drop strands. There are others who will drop 2 at a time. Well, that causes all kinds of issues, especially lumps and changeovers. When you're getting into your finer strands, say 24, 32, 48, drop 1 at a time. In fact, you can actually start and drop all the way down the whip. And it means nothing. Just follow that line and keep that line going. Just evening it up, making sure that I've got some good tight connections. I use a special Plaiter's soap made from beeswax so it grips. There are some who use a slippery soap. Well, and in some ways that's kind of detrimental really, because it ends up not gripping and maybe it bites in, but soap is fundamentally slippery. But if you put beeswax with your soap, it will always give you grip. But it makes it pliable. It makes the kangaroo hide feel just like plasticine. And you'll only know the worth of using wax in your soap when you go to undoing one of your own plaited whips. You'll go, this is all stuck together. So that's good. Right, and I'm going to pare that back. My autofocus is going off again, but there we go. So effectively, I'm now at 13 plait. So I've just paused for a moment. Yeah, we're away again. Now that strand is going to get held under. There it is. It's on that, come to that side, the left side. And there it is. And it's at the lower part, so you've got room to tuck it under and then ride the other strands over the top. There you go, under it goes. And then slowly moving all the others little bit by little bit. Now that's the advantage of having beveled hide or beveled strands that you've beveled yourself. You'll know your give and take. If you've beveled it so that there's a 0.5 millimeter bevel back on 1 millimeter strand, you'll know that you've got an easy 0.5 millimeter for each pass that you can use up. If you have troubles with gaps, bevel it a deeper bevel. If you've got 1 millimeter or 1.2 millimeter Kangaroo, bevel it so that you've got 1 millimeter of play, so that your gaps disappear. So right now I'm plaiting 12 plait, under 3, over 3, under 3. And my line, just making sure that my line is good. Yep, that looks good. And there I'm going to peer down, or point down, that strand that I'm pulling there. Being aware that if you pull too hard, you'll distort it. It's about small changes equals one big change. There you go, it's all ready to be pointed and peered down. There you go, flipped it over, having a look, making sure everything's in line, and there we go, there's my peer down. Full 12 plait now. Okay, as I carry on with this, this is just going to carry on because I'm going to finish the 16 plait with an 8 plait point. So you can keep doing from 12 down to 11 to 10 to 9 to 8. A 16 plait is an 8 point is a good finish point. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going, and at this point I'm going to sort of conclude the video section because it's the same sort of thing happening over and over again. Now what I'm going to do is, how do we roll it down to actually even the internals and even out our braid? I use a piece of 7 ply on a piece of MDF that is all covered in wax for the handle. There it is, you can see that brown bit, that's actually all wax. There's many years of rolling handles. There you go. So what that also does is a small amount of wax comes off that and goes onto the handle, and you never need to do it again. So now I'm going to do the body. There you go. And you can feel it underfoot when you put the pressure. You'll feel it if it's lumpy or if it rolls really cleanly. Rolling down all your drop strands will literally make them disappear. So just making sure that I don't have little particles and bits. You don't want that. Now it's going to slap around if you have a problem with your plait and you're plaiting on one side only. Notice that I don't have quite the same bend. That's because I've been opposing my plait by turning over every now and then, especially when I'm dropping strands. Just making sure there's no particles, dust. Just picks up everywhere. It's just... So now now we're heading to the point, and I'm also rolling that on the waxed area as well. But the body of the whip, no need to. Really where wax is needed and dressing is needed is at the point of the whip and on that fall. Now I'm going to roll that fall knot as well, just into it. And then right on the knot, gently, and then press it and compress it. And there we go. Just making sure that it feels good. There you go.